Now, Joseph had to grapple with something that was very tricky, and Jews have been dealing with this for a very long time. He was uprooted from his native land involuntarily, sold into slavery, and he found himself in Egypt. When he got to Egypt, he did something that some people might consider very wrong. He took on an Egyptian name. He took on an Egyptian wife. He named his children with Egyptian names. He became what has become a dirty word to some people, assimilated. He assimilated into Egyptian culture. And this has been condemned by Jewish people for centuries, for millennia. Assimilation is considered one of the worst sins of the Jewish people. It reminds us of the person who has joined a golf club and tried to hide the fact that he was Jewish. They said, "Are you Jewish?" "Me? No. I'm not Jewish. And my father wasn't Jewish. And my grandfather, alav shalom, he wasn't Jewish either." Also reminds me of the story about the guy who's playing golf at the club, trying to hide his identity. It's a horrible shot. And he says, "Oy vey Izmir." And then he looks around and he goes, whatever that means. My friends, many Jewish people have tried to find a way to integrate into society and hide their Jewish identity. Others have shunned the outside world. You can see them, even in America. They want nothing to do with America and its customs and its ways. They still live a completely Jewish life, the same way they might be living back in Poland. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to grapple with this? We're in the United States. We're Americans, and are we Jews? Are we Americans first? Are we Jews first? Can we be both? Joseph leads the way. Many Jewish people take on American-sounding names. Balfour Brickner was a great rabbi. Albert Einstein was a great Jewish leader. I mean, many Jewish people take on the names of their culture, so that really is not a major impediment. Many Jewish people adopt Western dress. Most of us dress like Americans, except maybe for a rabbi on Shabbat. Of course, I wear the talit with a fringe to show that we never hesitate to stand on the fringe of society when necessary to oppose bullies and tyrants and to stand up for what's right. What is it that Joseph was able to do? He used his Yiddishkeit. He used his Jewish mind in order to become part of Egypt, but also separate and apart from Egypt to save Egypt. He used his talents, his ingenuity, his foresight, and his belief in powers that were beyond him in order to save all of Egypt. And in return, he saved his own people as well. He was not only for his own people, and he was not only for Egypt. He was bigger than all that. He was international, cosmopolitan. He was able to save all of Egypt and his people. But more than that, he asked his brothers, when he made himself known to them, "Does my father still live?" And he showed that despite his change of name and his status and his integration into Egyptian society, his father, his Jewish roots, his Yiddish neshama still lived because he showed compassion for his brothers. What would most leaders have done? You sold me into slavery, and now you come groveling before me? The heck with you. Off with their head. He didn't just provide for them. He didn't just begrudgingly take care of them because of his family. The Torah says, "Hu midaber al libam." He spoke to their heart. He told a white lie. He said, "It wasn't your fault what you did. That was part of a divine plan. Don't beat yourself up over that. It all turned out for the best." Did he really believe it? Who knows? But one thing we do know, he was 100% Jewish at that point. Despite the outer trappings, his neshama, his soul, was Jewish. His etzem, his asmotai, was always with the Jewish people. He identified with them. Many of us have difficulty doing that. We're so enthralled by American culture. My friends, American culture is Jewish culture. The words on the Liberty Bell are from the book of Leviticus. The words of the Statue of Liberty were written by Emma Lazarus, a Jew. The motto of the United States of America, seeking freedom from oppression, is Moses seeking freedom. You don't have to choose one or the other, but I'll tell you this much. If the United States ever becomes a melting pot, and if the Jewish people were to be melted or dissolved into the general population, that would be a tremendous loss, a horrible loss, not only for the Jewish people, but for the United States of America. Because if this country ever became a melting pot, as some people would like, and the Jewish people lost its identity, who would be able to stand up and fight for what's right? Who would be there to challenge authority? Who would be a thorn in the side to would-be tyrants? Who would be able to share the indomitable spirit of the Jew who believes that all of us are created in a divine image and that our goal and our destiny is to create a better world instead of getting lost in cynicism? Who would do that? We're not a melting pot. We are more like a stew. And we are part of that stew, and we have the recipe for a better world. Jewish values and American ideals, rahmanas, kindness, compassion, chesed, righteousness, shalom, peace, and ideals that are very often overlooked, especially today. Emet, truth. How many people do you know who say there's no such thing as truth? It's all subjective. Your truth, my truth, our truth. We Jews don't believe that. We believe that there's an ultimate truth. Our ancestors started with some kind of being. It's not a being. There are physical laws. There are truths that make this world go round. And love is one of them. That without love, the world is empty, and it's barren, and it's desolate. We Jews believe in love. We say v'ahavta. And so, my friends, we believe that we are not a melting pot, we are a stew. And not only that, we Jews are stewards. We're stewards of morality. We must be stewards of this planet. Many people think the earth is here to be exploited. There are many people who think that the United States is best symbolized by the dollar sign, which is actually a U and an S, US with the bottom pulled out. They think that America stands for money, and that the more money you have, the more American you are. And the more you exploit the world, the better you are. My friends, that's a fool's errand. We Jews every Shabbat celebrate creation. And if we don't share an appreciation with creation, with the world, there is no hope. Do you know that they're coming up with technology that's going to be able to feed 10 billion people, probably by the year 2050? If the population doubles every 25 years, will that be good enough? Where will people live? Where will they get water? Where will they have resources? We need to understand Emet Vatzedek, the Emet of Malthus, who said we must deal with our population. Population and resources are not unlimited. Be fruitful and multiply made sense with 2 people. With 7 billion, we need to cherish life. And the way to cherish life is not to force women against their will to become parents when they're not ready. To cherish life means to empower women, empower families, and to allow Jewish values to prevail, which really understands the sanctity of life. I hope we'll learn the lesson from Joseph. Joseph was someone who navigated so well the ability to assimilate into modern society and never forget our Jewish roots. Because the world needs us to be Jews, And if we shirk Jewry duty, Jewry, this world is going to be in sorry shape. So let us remember and be proud of our Jewish heritage, not just to resist anti-Semitism, but to proudly go forth and to share the values and the ideals that this world urgently needs from our wonderful Jewish heritage, as Joseph did so well. Shabbat Shalom.